From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 7th, 2024. As fierce battles between Israeli troops and Hamas terrorists continue in Gaza, the IDF announced the death yesterday of 21-year-old Staff Sergeant David Sasson, who served in the Oketz Canine Unit for the IDF. He was killed in fighting during a Hamas ambush in southern Gaza. 12 other soldiers were injured in the same incident. And the IDF continues to defend its northern border with Lebanon, responding to some 10 rockets fired early this morning at northern Israel at Rosh HaNikra. 9 of the rockets were said to have been intercepted by the Iron Dome, the other falling in an open area. The IDF said this morning that in the last few hours, launches from Lebanese territory into Israel were detected in the Rosh HaNikra area, in the Ya'ara area, and in the Upper Galilee. The IDF attacked the sources of the fire with artillery fire, and also saying that Israeli fighter jets attacked 2 military buildings of terror group Hezbollah in several locations. The IDF also conducted counter-terror operations in the West Bank overnight last night and arrested some 34 wanted Palestinians and confiscated weapons. The troops came under fire during the operation and said that terrorists threw explosives at the forces. There were no casualties. The status of the hostage talks taking place in Cairo is unclear, with reports that the delegation from terror group Hamas left the talks to consult with its leadership, with apparently intent to return to the talks next week on Sunday. No real progress has been reported of late, and some reports say the talks are being held up by Hamas. Egyptian officials were also cited, saying, though, that the talks would continue. The talks, of course, regarding a deal that is on the table for a reported 6-week pause in fighting in Gaza for the return of hostages who have now been held by Hamas in Gaza for 153 days. COGAT, who coordinates the IDF's humanitarian aid to Gaza, shared today that 5,160 tons, which are over 11 million pounds of humanitarian aid, were transferred to the Gaza Strip yesterday alone, saying there are no limits to the amount of humanitarian aid that can enter Gaza. The United States carried out another airdrop of humanitarian aid into Gaza, together with Jordan. CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, said it and the Royal Jordanian Air Force conducted a combined humanitarian assistance airdrop into northern Gaza today to provide essential relief to civilians in Gaza affected by the ongoing conflict, dropping, it said, over 38,000 meals into the area. And there are reports that in President Biden's State of the Union address tonight, he will announce that the U.S. plans to build a pier off of the Gaza coast to allow for maritime delivery of aid. Well, the families of American Israeli hostages will attend the State of the Union address tonight as guests of members of Congress. The families have asked congressional members, Republican and Democrat, to join them in wearing yellow ribbons and dog tags to draw attention to the ongoing hostage crisis in Gaza. The families writing every day without a deal to bring all of the hostages home could potentially be a death sentence for those still in captivity. The families also thanked Congress and the Biden administration for continuing to do everything possible to end the hostage crisis and bring their loved ones home. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, March the 7th. At 7 o'clock, it's part 2 of Purim Insights with Justin Pines, who draws lessons about the post-war Jewish community from the Purim story and the rituals of giving gifts to our neighbors and to the poor, and shares one key strategy for building that community. At 8 o'clock, Rabbi David Wolpe examines antisemitism throughout history in a program of the Temple Emanu-El Streicker Center. At 9, Deborah Lipstadt is on L'chaim. At 10:30, it's a replay of the news. And coming up next, Colonel Elad Edri, Search and Rescue Brigade Commander of the IDF, shares his experiences since October the 7th, beginning with the Battle of Zikim at the start of the war. That's on FIDF Live. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 7th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.